I can't wait. I'm gonna look for.
Can you hear me?
Sorry.
Now you can hear me. Okay. Welcome in. I'm T. This B. We're having a conversation about some non-sports related stuff, but it's okay. No worries. We're gonna save the sports for y'all.
It's what we do.
It's what we do. So yeah, man. Thanks everybody for joining us. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button, hit the like button on the video, and hit that notification button while you're at it. Look at that. We're on time. 7:30 on the nose. B.
6:30, sir.
6:30. Never mind. I take it all back.
You were almost there. You were almost there.
I'm going home, folks. I don't know what I'm talking about anymore. B,
you are home. What you mean?
How you doing? How you doing?
Man,
how you doing, B?
I'm doing good, man. Outside of this bad weather, we got a storm coming in right now, and just by looking outside, it looks pretty wet, to say the least. But happy to be indoors, to say the least. Watching this All-Star game just break a record as far as points go. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm saying over 350 points, something in that.
Well, they're going to get very close to it. They damn near have 100, and it's only the second quarter.
Maybe, man, could they reach 400? I don't know. Well,
I think so.
Well, let's see. Well, let's jump into it. Obviously, folks, man, the NFL has come to an end. We had a lot of fun doing the NFL games, especially during the playoffs. But as we talked about before, we're transitioning into basketball, of course, which is in full swing, and then baseball, which is on the horizon. So we'll still be doing our Pick'em Dummies shows. If you haven't already checked those out, go check them out. We were doing NFL Pick'em Dummies. We will now be doing NBA Pick'em Dummies and see if we're any smarter in the NBA than we are in the NFL. I have a feeling I'm going to lose a lot, but we'll see.
You can't lose as much as I have over the last. The entire pick'em dummies of the NFL, dude. I would trust you more than I would trust myself.
It's just like
Let's just put it like that.
There's just so many NBA games, and you just never know if the Celtics are going to lose to the Lakers on a Thursday night. Where LeBron's not playing. You just never know with the NBA. But with that being said, one of the things we want to cover that we didn't get a chance to go through because of what was going on with the Super Bowl is the NBA trade deadline. And our respective teams. I am a Laker fan. If you didn't know already, B is a Warriors fan. He's got the hat to show. Our teams didn't do dilly squat. But let's go through some of these moves. And we'll just cover them to see if any of them really have any real, impact, honestly. It starts with the Mavs. The Mavs picked up PJ Washington. I believe they picked up somebody else too. I can't recall the name. 76ers got Buddy Hield. I thought that was a fairly good pickup. Somehow Gordon Hayward, after 5 years of being pretty much irrelevant, is now playing with the Thunder. And
a very good Thunder team at that.
Yeah, exactly.
He found himself in a competitive spot.
Yeah, I'm curious. Dude, I gotta be honest with you. I haven't seen Gordon Hayward dribble a basketball in at least 2.5 years. I mean, seriously, can he? Play?
I don't know. It's because the last thing I remember about Gordon Hayward was him breaking his ankle.
That's right. Yep, I do remember that. That was nasty.
That opening night in Cleveland. That's the last thing I remember about Gordon Hayward. I didn't know he was still in the league.
Well, the Thunder apparently have somewhere for him to sit on the sideline, or maybe he gets to play. But the way that team has been playing, I don't know if he's going to get that many minutes. Then the Knicks, I thought, had a really good pickup with Alex Burke and Bojan Bogdanovic.
Yeah, that was good.
The Knicks also, the Knicks also traded for who was it from the Raptors? Why am I blanking?
Toppin.
Well, the Knicks traded for they traded R.J. Barrett and Quickly for OG Anunoby. Thank you. So they picked up.
I was close.
You were very close. No, you weren't. They picked up OG Anunoby, Alec Burks, and Bojan Bogdanovic from Detroit. I mean, the Knicks are really, really priming themselves to make a deep playoff run with the emergence of Jalen Brunson and these additions, some veteran additions at that. Man, I think Julius Randle gets healthy. I think they might have a chance to get into the Eastern Conference Finals. Maybe. What do you think, man?
Well, so right now the Knicks are sitting 33-22. They're fourth in the East right now, and quite honestly, I don't see anyone catching the Boston Celtics. Celtics are sitting at 43-12 right now, and the Celtics made a pretty good move themselves by getting, it looks like, Xavier Tillman here, so a little bit of a little bit of size in there as well.
Yeah.
But I mean, look, the Celtics are a team that really didn't need to do anything. The Knicks do have the opportunity to take the 2 seed in the East here. I strongly believe with these additions that they have, they may be a team you want to watch out for. And when you have an all-star point guard like Jalen Brunson, we see what these point guards can do in the playoffs here, and what they could bring. So with that, don't forget Dante DiVincenzo, great off the bench here for the Knicks. Um, who else am I missing here? Julius Randle, we really haven't heard a whole lot of. He's playing a little injured right now.
Yeah.
But I do like what they did in the trade deadline there, because they are going to have to compete with the Sixers and with the Celtics here. But they made the right moves here by going out and getting some help to come off the bench here with those 2 pickups, Alec Burks and Bojan. Bojan's a three-point specialist.
Yeah.
And so with something like that here, that's gonna help. That's gonna help booster that roster there. So this was good for the Knicks on the last day of the trade deadline.
Yeah, man, I think it's gonna definitely open up the playbook for Jalen Brunson, who's already been a beast. You surround him with guys who can help spread the floor. I think it's only gonna make the situation better. They do need to get Julius Randle back into the fold. Like you say, he's been dealing with a couple of health issues. And on cue, we got a chat from Black Vanguard. Only problem.
What's up, Black Vanguard?
Only problem with the Knicks is Randle is never healthy. So yeah, obviously, they gotta try to get Randle something. But what they've done is by bolstering, like you said, by bolstering their team offensively coming off the bench, they kind of make up for a few of those points here and there. Definitely. And
they can.
I feel bad for this guy. Pat Bev gets traded for the 29th time, it seems like. I mean, dude was getting traded every season. Every season for the past 3 years, it seems like.
He couldn't have gotten traded at like the worst time, because the Sixers owner was talking about not getting rid of Pat Beverly. Literally a week later, he finds himself on the Milwaukee Bucks. Like, talk about bad karma for yourself, man. Like, that's terrible. That's terrible.
Hey, man, it happens. It happens. And, to be honest with you, Pat Bev is one of those guys who can help out a team that's already winning. I don't know what he can do for the Bucks necessarily. I feel like the Bucks' biggest problem is they just haven't figured out the secret sauce between Dame Lillard and Giannis Antetokounmpo. Until they can figure that situation out, I think they'll still be in the top 5. But I don't know if they're going to be in the finals.
We talked about that too when that trade went down. It's just a matter of the fact that how long is that combination going to take? Because you're taking 2 different players and asking them to figure it out in this first year here, because you can't make a trade like that and just be like, oh, well, let's let them figure it out 1 year and then go from there. Like, no, you got to get back into the finals here. And, I think what Pat Bev is going to bring to the Milwaukee Bucks is he's going to help them out defensively. He is excuse my language. He's a pest on the defensive end of things, to say the least here. He's one of those guys who's going to get under your skin. He's a smaller version of Draymond here. Malik Beasley, who's quietly having a pretty decent season here. You have Jay Crowder as well.
Yeah. So
I think that second unit, Bobby Portis, is a great defender. I mean, he's not great, but he does the job.
He's an energy guy.
I think. Yeah. I think with the addition to Pat Bev, look, you're not going to ask him to score points. You're not going to ask him to run an offense here. What you're going to ask him to do is play solid defense up and down the court here. Get underneath the best player's skin, because he does it to every single person in the NBA. I think it's kind of the right fit here for the Bucks here. I thought he was just fine with the Sixers, but they thought differently.
Yeah, well, we'll see how it works out. Again, it gives them another veteran to put on that team. And the Bucks have nothing but veterans for the most part. So this is just adding one in there. So I don't know if honestly, to me, it's a moot point. I still feel like the Bucks offensively have to determine what direction they want to go in. And Giannis is so accustomed to having the ball in his hands that we just haven't really. The Dame Giannis pairing is not striking fear into anybody yet. So hopefully they can figure some of that out. You talked about earlier with the Celtics getting Xavier Tillman. Thought that was a nice little pickup. They've had some injuries with Porzingis off and on the court, so I think they helped shore up their center position. The Wolves get Monte Morris. I don't know. I don't really care. Monte
Morris. Ex-Laker.
Monte Morris. All right. Anyway. Oh, you're talking about the Morris twins? Is that who we're talking about?
No.
I don't know who this guy is.
Monte Morris, he's kind of the darker. He's a little darker dreads. He played with you guys. Like I think he played with them last year.
He didn't do very. He didn't make an impression because don't remember him. Good luck. Well, I don't even man. And then we got the Heat getting Terry Rozier. I thought that was quite the pickup.
And to get rid of Kyle Lowry, and they said, "Here, go to the Hornets." Like, you know how disrespectful that is to Kyle Lowry.
He's gonna go to the Sixers because they're gonna buy him out. That's what's That's what's reported to happen. So Kyle Lowry's gonna end up on the 76ers after being bought out by the Hornets. Terry, but as you mentioned, Scary Terry, who's a guy that can put up points in bunches, and can get hot, is the type of Heat player I think that you're used to. He's a guy that could come in the game, and if he gets under the tutelage of that group with Jimmy Butler, with what's his name, Sposa. Am I saying his name right?
Spolstra.
Good Lord, I'm saying the guy's name.
You're all right.
With Eric Spolstra out there, who's been a phenomenal coach for the past 10 years, I think he's going to definitely have some success with the Heat. For sure.
Can you imagine him and Jimmy Butler on the floor together, not taking anyone's BS, and the amount of arguments that are going to take place on there? The only difference with that is Scary Terry is an actual scorer.
Yeah.
Like that man could get, like you said, he can put up 20 in the blink of an eye. Now he's no Jamal Crawford or anything like that there, but the fact of the matter is that the Heat got a secondary scorer to help Jimmy Butler, to help facilitate to Bam Adebayo as well. This may push them into, again, another Eastern Conference Finals. No one's talking about the Heat, and that's the last thing that we need to have happen.
Because every time
no one talks about them,
right?
And they find themselves in the Eastern Conference Finals again.
Every time. It doesn't even make any sense, man.
It never fails. Like there's a bunch of odysseys in life, and this is one of them. Here is how do the Heat just find their way into the Eastern Conference Finals every single year? It feels like it.
They either go to the finals or they don't make the playoffs. It seems it's one or the other, and so we'll see how they do this time around. And another big deal: the Pacers get Pascal Siakam. Look, that's a great pickup for the Pacers, especially considering they've got Tyrese Halliburton, in the fold. But the Pacers don't play any defense. They play absolutely no defense at all. So I think this makes them a nice young team that can make a little bit of push in the playoffs. But I don't think this elevates them to being playing in the Eastern Conference Finals.
I'm really trying to figure out what the Pacers have been trying to do with this roster here, because they sent Buddy Hield to the 76ers. They
sent Bruce Brown.
Nothing. They got rid of Bruce Brown.
Yeah.
So when you look at this roster here now, obviously Tyrese Halliburton is the main guy here. Benedict Mathurin, who's a great sophomore player right now. He's having a really good year.
Yep.
Pascal Siakam, as we talked about here, Obi Toppin. Why am I missing the big man's name? Miles Turner?
Miles Turner, you got it.
Yeah. Miles Turner, yeah.
Yeah. So...
But after that, when you look at this bench is nothing, man. Doug McDermott is coming off the bench.
He's still in the league?
Obi Toppin.
Yep.
I guess so. If his name's on the roster, I guess he's still in the league here.
Oh, man.
Andrew, they built a roster to start, but they didn't build it to continue.
Yeah.
When you look at it, TJ McConnell, James Johnson, a lot of these guys aren't going to come off the radar really here. So it's really hard to say what they wanted to do with this roster here. So it's interesting because they're in the middle of a playoff run too. It's I'm kind of mind blown by it.
Yeah, I just feel like they'll be the same team. They're gonna be offensively fantastic, but if you clamp them down, they won't have any answers because they're not gonna defend you. And I think that's the issue that they're gonna have, especially playing in the East, where you have some of the better defensive ball clubs between the Heat, the Bucks, and the Celtics. Those teams are pretty tough on the defensive end and have fairly good defenders up and down the roster.
Exactly.
Let's jump into the chat. So we got Black Vanguard joining us. So he knows his role, talking about Pat Bev. And I agree with B on the Pat Bev bringing the pest factor. That's his only job, I guess. And then Terry Rozier is very streaky. Yeah, he is very streaky. Yeah. So it's true. It's that's the thing with him is he could put up 20 in a minute or 2 minutes, or he can go 0 for 5 from the field in that 2 minutes. So we'll see what the Heat get from him. But, Spoelstra's been pretty good about letting guys play. As long as they're getting back and doing their thing on defense, you can take as many shots as you want on that team.
Dude, you know what's crazy is that they're only 6 games out of the 2nd seed.
Oh, the Heat?
But, yeah, like it's going to happen.
Well, they'll come in as a 4 or 5 seed is what'll happen, and then they'll upset some because the last few years they've upset some pretty big teams, mainly the Bucks. They beat the Bucks a couple of times in the playoffs, and once in the first round as an 8 seed. So it'd be interesting to see how Spoelstra's team shows up this year. But history shows us is we cannot turn our back on the Heat. They will stab you. They will get you.
Well, so if you guys haven't done this yet, go to ESPN.com and click on the Heat's profile, go to their roster page, and I can't help but look at Jimmy Butler with this emo look that he walked into his press conferences. But I think the biggest thing for the Heat is going to be a contribution from a player no one's probably thinking of, and that's Duncan Robinson.
Yeah.
Like I think Tyler Hero's kind of fallen off a little bit here. He did get the big contract, but he's not. I don't think he's playing to it.
Yeah.
Duncan Robinson is going to be their vocal key. A championship team always has that vocal player that can come in clutch, to say the least here. And I think Duncan Robinson is going to be that guy for the Heat. Terry Rozier, Jimmy Butler, we talked about it. They're going to get what they need here. Jaime Jaquez Jr. again.
He's been playing pretty well too.
He's been playing pretty well, but he is a rookie, so just keep that in mind that he's going to hit that rookie wall here. Bam Adebayo is, been consistent all year for them. So I think Duncan Robinson coming off that bench is going to be really, really key for the Heat to find their way even into the finals.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, again, that team has a knack for being able to defend and knock down timely shots. So we'll see if they can carry that into the playoffs this year. Let's get into our favorite teams.
Let's talk about these nightmares.
Before we got to the All-Star break, I mean, there wasn't a whole lot of great things to say about either one of these teams, to be quite honest with you. But like a very, very old man, they've taken their Geritol, they've rubbed some arthritis rub on their knees and elbows, and they've gotten out of the easy chair and into the game. And that's none other than the Lakers and the Warriors, of course. So I'll start with my team, man. The Lakers have been the most mysterious team in the fact that they have the talent on the squad, but have not been able to put it together for a better part of the entire half of the season, to the point that they've been a 500 or less team throughout most of this season. And it's kind of striking, especially since last year, this same group made it all the way to the Western Conference Finals, so expectations were a lot higher. They added Gabe Vincent, who hasn't even seen the floor, but maybe 1 or 2 games. And it's really been a mess, I got to be honest with you. And as a Laker fan, it's tough for me not to say this, but I got to put a lot of this on the shoulders of our coach, at least for the start.
My God, absolutely. Are you kidding?
And here's the main reason. We went to the Western Conference Finals with a particular lineup. We come into this season missing Jared Vanderbilt, but we still had the other pieces of that lineup. And for some reason, we changed that lineup entirely, and then changed it again, and then changed it again. Now, a lot of it was due to injury, but it was pretty obvious from the outset that Rui Hachimura should have been in the starting lineup. Our coach, Darvin Ham, has some weird fixation with Taurean Prince, who was a backup, mind you, on his previous team, that he should be starting. He's not a shutdown defender. He's a tweener, kind of 2 and 3. It made absolutely no sense. And then to top it all off, we get to a part later in the season, and guess what? He goes back to the starting lineup that we had last year, and we start winning games.
Go figure, right?
To me, that alone means that this guy should be fired. And I hate to do him like that. Darvin Ham, I'm sure is a great guy, played in the league for a long time. But man, I mean, B, talk to me, man. How you start you got a roster. I mean, you think about it. You got D'Angelo Russell, who people like to throw rocks at, but it's still a quality point guard.
I don't know why people disregard D'Angelo Russell. Like, the man can still play. It's borderline disrespectful how people talk about him.
Yeah, you got AR-15, Austin Reeves, who the coach benched for. He benched D'Lo and Austin Reeves at one point. And then. You got Bron, you got AD, who collectively they both have only missed like 5 games, which is a miracle.
Yeah.
And then Jared Vanderbilt was injured, but you decided to replace him with Taurean Prince whenever you had Rui Hachimura, who is a much better player, is the better player, and I thought should have been the starting role. So what happens? You start Rui, you give Rui more minutes. Oh, look, he is a good player. He is scoring the ball. Guys just needed opportunities in places that mattered, and I felt like our coach just he never gave us that opportunity by putting good players in position to do their job to the best of their ability.
I don't know what Darvin Ham was thinking, like he had a job security when it came into the season, but his job was just as much as on the line the minute this season started here. They went out and constructed a roster to compete for finals here. And that's what they did, bringing all these names in. And he has not put a solid lineup out there until the last couple of weeks here, when the Lakers found a consistent lineup here and they started winning games. You can't go away what's gotten. I mean, you do make adjustments on the fly as far as where players need to be. But why is D'Angelo Russell not starting every single game for you? The man, I'm not saying he's a all-star point guard. But the man is a very good point guard, and he can get hot when he's in rhythm. He's one of those guys who can light it up from 3 just as quick as anybody else in this league. Right. We all know how quick this league can shoot threes here.
Yeah.
AR-15, Austin Reeves. Look, I get it. Benching him wasn't the bad thing because it got his ass to start playing better, and he's shown a lot more improvement over the last couple of weeks before the All-Star break here. Rui Hachimura should have never left that starting lineup here. The man should stay a starter. He earned that right here. He gives them more size. He gives them athleticism. Yeah. He needs to be a consistent starter in that lineup. I think your inconsistency comes at the center position. Yeah. Yeah. Or even at the 4 here. Well, you can slide Anthony Davis to the 4. You went out and got Jackson Hayes. You have who else?
Christian Wood
lineup. Christian Wood. Yeah. Colin Castleton. But all I'm saying is, all you're looking to do is have someone rebound in the 5 position. You've got scorers 1 through 4. Yeah. That's not a problem.
Right.
It's making sure you at least stick with one center. We all know a center position isn't all that important anymore in this league. So all you're asking your center to do is just rebound and get the offense in transition there.
Right.
That's not asking for a lot from an NBA player.
Yeah.
So keep Anthony Davis at the 4. Don't ask him to do big man things. Ask him to do scorer things. And I think it will pan out here, because we've seen Anthony Davis on this floor more than we have in his entire career.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. They put these new rules into place, and now he's like not getting hurt. Go figure.
That's actually happened to a lot of players. It's funny you bring that up. Kawhi Leonard, he's only missed a handful of games this season. He's all of a sudden, he's
having one of his best careers.
He's
having one of his best careers right now because he's playing. Go figure.
Yeah, man. And, I think Anthony Davis is going to always end up at the 5 because the Lakers are not committed to playing anyone at the 5 in his place. They tried to make it seem like as though they were going to get a 5 to play next to him. And it this season, I think they very rarely played a too big lineup. They have sometimes where they put Jackson Hayes next to him, Christian Wood next to him. They won't start that way, but they will do that from time to time against certain teams. But I agree with you. I mean, he's a natural mismatch at the 4. He still is at a 5 for the most part against most bigs. But, the Lakers will... we've been saying this for a long time. The Lakers are not going to... They're just not going to play him at the 4. They're just not going to do it. I don't know why. It's the same thing with LeBron, them pretending like LeBron needs ball handlers. And it's like, no, LeBron just needs to play the 4 or the 3. Like, he needs to be a natural 3 or 4, meaning at his position, he just has to rebound, set screens, catch the ball in the post. But LeBron likes to have the ball in his hands, and that takes the hands of the ball from other people. And the one thing I like to say is, the one thing I notice about D'Lo and how well he's been playing is the fact that they're actually letting him play point guard. Before it was, nobody wants to see LeBron's sidestep threes at the top of the key or, all that stuff. I don't need to see any of that. I think D'Lo is a guy that should have the ball in his hands a majority of the time as the point guard. LeBron says he doesn't want to handle the ball. Great. Get up there and set a screen, get the ball in the post, cut, catch the ball on the move, whatever. But when D'Lo is running the point, I think it works out well for everybody. And it's great to see that. Yes. I like to see that because I think LeBron is better, even though people keep saying this, but it's hard to put it in action. It's like, Bron needs help. Bron needs help. He needs somebody. He's older, yada, yada, yada. Yeah, well, Bron needs to help himself. Step out of the way. Let the guy that you say you want to handle the ball and play off of him. And that Bron's not used to doing that. He's starting to get a little bit better at playing off the ball. There will be times where he's the man and the ball's in his hand to score. That's fine. But through a majority of the game, Bron likes to sit in the corner. Bron likes to walk. Bron likes to kind of... and during the regular season against teams that he don't care about, he doesn't really get up for every game. So I think it's extremely... No, he does not. It's extremely important that he leans on guys like D'Angelo Russell for that energy and that you need those guys because Bron don't want to play every other game. You could tell when he's on the floor. Some days he got it, some days he don't. You know what I'm saying? So
I think the big thing though is LeBron knows when he's got to take over, go take over.
Right. Yeah.
Right. But when the time's not to take over, be off the ball. Yeah. Allow the offense to run here. It cannot run when you're consistently trying to be the point. When you've got a pretty decent point guard,
or stand there. Don't just stand there. Bro. Yeah. Be a 3. Be a 4. Yeah.
do your job. But when the time comes to take over, go take over here. Right. Like that's not a problem for you. It's when you don't have to take over and how he can get the other guys involved or how they can get him involved in the offense when it doesn't evolve around him for for a good portion of the game there. I think that's the big challenge. And Darvin Ham, honestly, hasn't really helped out that cause. A lot of it also falls on the coaching of Darvin Ham here because he should be able to put these lineups together and get these players to run an offense where when the time comes, your best player is going to have the ball in his hands at all time, but your offense can still run without that happening here. And I just don't think Darvin Ham is doing a good job of it.
You're darn right. And for heaven's sake, the entire league has said that Cam Reddish, Taurean Prince, these guys are not starters. They've never been starters on any other NBA team. Okay?
Yeah, so why are they starting now?
You can't just throw them in there. And that's what I'm saying. You can't just throw those guys in there, bench D'Lo, and bench AR-15, Austin Reeves, in placement of these guys. I mean, it doesn't make any sense, and I feel like the issue was he should have stayed with the same starting lineup and just let them figure it out instead of trying to go in and make all these weird adjustments and changes in an effort to try to find some magic. It's like, dude, stop tinkering and just let them play. Like, this is a talented roster that you have, and for a while there, he was squandering it. it didn't make any sense, man. So
let me ask you this. Now the Lakers did pick up Spencer Dinwiddie uh, off the wire pretty much. They bought out that contract here. How does he play a factor in this final stretch for the Lakers here?
He's going to play a huge factor. Well, when I say huge, I'm going to say it like this. He's going to be one of our better bench players. He's a guy that could come in and fill the same role that Austin Reeves would, or maybe even a D'Lo, because he can run at some point. So when you take those guys out of the game, you can still run this similar style, consistent offense from one group to the next, instead of it being night and day, where we're taking out D'Angelo Russell and putting in Taurean Prince, and now all of a sudden he can't. You know what I'm saying? Like, anyway, let me leave Taurean Prince alone. He's a great player. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, leave him alone, man. Come on.
He's just give the man a little credit. He's a quality bench player, and he probably shouldn't be starting. But anyway, so yeah, man, I just think, I think that they need to, see, look, you made me lose my thought, man. Now I'm getting old on the live stream, getting old in front of everybody.
That's got nothing to do with me, sir.
It doesn't. I can't blame you for that. But as now that I've remembered, yeah. So I think Dinwiddie is just going to help keep that consistent 2-guard lineup that they're used to having, a combo guard that could go out there and play next to AD or play beside AD and run a similar, or play beside LeBron and run a similar style offense. So I think that's going to be huge.
Now, the Lakers are sitting 3 games out of the 6th seed, to get out of this play-in tournament. With this second-hand stretch here, what do you see your team finishing?
Oh, man.
Yeah.
I mean,
where do you see this push going?
I'm going to be optimistic and say that they do find a way to get into the 6th seed. However, that being said, I have to point out the fact that their schedule coming up is not going to be easy. It's going to be extremely
difficult
schedule. And I'll give you guys, I'm going to go through it, just a couple of games. After they come out of the All-Star break, the first team they're going to see are none other than your team, the Golden State
Warriors. We're playing better.
Yeah,
we're playing better.
So we got the Golden State Warriors right out of the box, right after vacation, and then we get San Antonio and Washington are the easiest games over the next 6 games. Those other games are the Warriors, the Suns, the Clippers, the Nuggets, the Thunder, Sacramento, Milwaukee, Minnesota, Sacramento, and Golden State. That is the next 10 games. They have no break. They literally have no break.
How do you see them in those 10 games?
Oh my god.
I say they go 5-5.
If they go
10 games.
I'm not even gonna lie. If they go 5-5 in those games, I'm cool with that, man. I'm cool with that. If they go 5,
that's a tough stretch,
dude. I mean, and that's back. I mean, I don't. Do they have any back-to-backs on this one?
They probably do.
No back-to-backs.
That's right.
Thank goodness. We had a lot of them at the beginning of the season. We don't have any this time. We got San Antonio on a back-to-back after we play you guys. So that might be a trap game. But other than that, all the other games. Oh no, I'm wrong. We got Washington after the Clippers on a back-to-back, and that's all the back-to-backs there are. Thank goodness.
I was about to say there's got to be at least 2 in a 10-game stretch because the NBA just loves to run teams into the ground.
A crazy schedule. So if they can do it, yeah, I believe in them. I'm looking at the teams in front of them. The Mavs did make some good picked up a couple of bigs, so they might get a little bit of a push. So you kind of have to keep an eye on that. Who else we got? Let me go to the standings here.
You got the Suns in front of you.
The Suns are trending up. So I don't think I don't think the Suns are going to fall off too much. I think the Denver Nuggets they got tired. You know how they got that midseason malaise because they were playing so well, and now they're kind of in the middle of the pack. I expect them to pick it up a little bit and kind of and elevate themselves closer to the number 2 or 3 seed. The Sacramento Kings have been meddling.
I wouldn't worry about the Sacramento.
Yeah, they haven't really. They didn't make any changes. I think they tried to get some trades going, but they couldn't. I believe I think Harrison Barnes might have been the guy they may have been dangling out there, but nothing came of that. I don't know that they'll be any better. The Pelicans is another team that can fall down, And
Yeah.
if anything, even remotely injury happens to the Clippers, their whole season is just going to fall into shambles. So we'll have to wait and see on that.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, now it's all about you, man. It's all about your Warriors, man.
Oof,
All about
man.
so much to talk about.
Where do I start? Let's start here. The fact that we didn't make a trade in the trade deadline when we actively needed a center and we needed a piece here. I don't know what they were thinking, but whatever it was, there must have been a heart-to-heart conversation in that locker room because through the last couple of weeks, we talked about the core breaking up.
Yeah.
Like that's how bad that they were playing. That they were talking about getting rid of Clay, getting rid of Draymond, building around Curry one more time here. And they took a risk and decided not to.
Yeah.
And I was a little upset about that at first. But I think the big thing to take away from that is Jonathan Kuminga is turning into what we wanted at the beginning of the season.
Yeah.
I guess his little outburst to Kerr is now proving him wrong. And Kuminga can get to the line. Like he is playing some straight bully ball down there. Amazing to see here. Like it was night and day. The minute he started doing this, the Warriors have gotten better. And I think the other thing with the Warriors getting better too is the fact that Draymond Green is back.
Yeah.
He is controlling everything for them. And that's what you need. As much of a problem as he's been, you see the potential and the need for Draymond. And let's just face facts, Draymond ain't going anywhere. He's not going to succeed in any other system outside of what the Warriors do.
True.
So there's no way the Warriors can afford to lose him. And I think the biggest the contribution now is Klay Thompson, knowing that he is not playing well and coming off the bench. Something tells me that even Andre Iguodala must have had a talk with him because he stays close with this team here. Andre had to make a big leap from being a starter to going to the bench here, and that's how the Warriors were able to win these championships here.
Right.
Klay recognizing that is not a bad thing.
No,
it's not a bad thing. And the biggest thing is now they have a consistent lineup. You get Curry, Kuminga, Wiggins, and Wiggins is actually kind of turning around a little bit here. You get Draymond at the 5, and it's going to be interesting who they start at the 2. Now that Klay Thompson is probably going to look like he's coming off the bench more often for consistency here. So it'd be interesting who they stick at the 2 guard here during that time. Maybe Pajemski could be that. I think they'll be a little small at the guard position here.
Yeah.
The man leads the league in charges though, so he does play some pretty good defense at that here. But there's a consistent lineup happening every single time. And that's what the Warriors have just been missing. Just like your Lakers, consistency in that lineup here. And the fact that the players are now recognizing where they need to be, and we still haven't gotten Chris Paul back. There's a nice little surge inside of this Warriors organization here. So I've liked what I've seen over the last couple of weeks here. They just have to prove us wrong that they did not need anything in that trade deadline, because if they don't make the playoffs or they don't get to this Western Conference Finals, it's a failure. And we're going to look at the trade deadline and go, why didn't you do anything then?
Yeah, I agree. I thought the Warriors, even though they didn't want to break up their squad, I thought there were some peripheral moves that they could have made to strengthen their roster. You certainly talked about the fact
100%.
of picking up a center. We just saw Xavier Tillman go to the Celtics for basically nothing. We've seen PJ Washington, who ended up with the Mavs. There were some peripheral moves I thought that could have been made by the Warriors. Maybe nothing splashy, but something on the peripheral that would have helped them out. It just never came to fruition. So, I think this team will play better. The only problem is you kind of dug yourself a little bit of a hole.
Too deep of a hole. Holy shnikes, that hole is deep.
And you're playing with players that are a little bit older is the other issue. And you have to think in the back of your mind, hey, how do we balance pushing for a run to make the playoffs with keeping our older players and stars healthy for the playoffs? That's a very difficult thing to do, and would take a very delicate balance to accomplish that. And I don't know if the Warriors can do that because Steph Curry has to help win these games. Okay, there's no doubt about that. He's the guy.
He has to make 9 3-pointers.
Right.
Let's put it like that. He has to make 9 to get these wins.
He's the guy, and so him putting that backpack on and putting everybody in it is what's been helping them beat the good teams. That is. So they've got to make sure that they find a way to keep him healthy. They have to continue to grow the roles of those younger guys. You talked about Kuminga getting out there and saying, hey, I need more minutes. Good for him. And good on Kerr for understanding that this is not the same team he coached a year ago or even 5 years ago. And it's time to embrace the youth. Let these guys play because you need them to help keep your old guys fresh. And you need them to get that experience because ultimately they're going to have to play in the playoffs too. So I like what I see from Kuminga, man. He's a downhill player. And
he gets downhill in a hurry.
And he has great athleticism. He's shown himself to be a better than average rebounder around the rim. He's a guy that could put the ball back on your head out of nowhere. And like you said, he can get to the free throw line. That's the athleticism that the Warriors were missing that they were used to getting from Andrew Wiggins. And so I'm glad him bringing that to the table. Clay accepting his role. Hey, you know what? You got to remember Manu Ginobili was the bench player on a couple of championship teams
one of the best bench players out there and help keep that championship season alive.
Absolutely.
You make a great point on that there. To Jonathan Kuminga, the only thing that I think he's just missing is just being a better free throw shooter.
Yeah.
He leaves a lot of points at the line. And when you're getting to the line in late games like this, free throws are crucial.
Mm-hmm.
And the game against the Jazz, they blew a lead and he got to the line 1 for 2 from the line here. These free throws are massive coming down the stretch here. So continue to get to the line, Kuminga, but just know we need you to be on point at the charity stripe, to say the least.
Yep.
The one thing I do want to touch on here is about Kerr and the young players here. This is them not going out and getting veterans. It is showing that, like you said, is Kerr's going to trust these young players here.
Yeah.
Trey Jackson-Davis, Jonathan Kuminga, Moses Moody, Podziemski. That man has seen more playing time than a rookie point guard for the Warriors has ever seen in their lifetime.
To
say the least.
Yeah.
So for all you fans out there that saying that Kerr doesn't trust the young guys, Podziemski has seen this court so much, he has gotten better as the year gone on here. The Warriors found an absolute steal in this draft. And the fact that he is learning from Curry as well, and you can see it by the way his step back is done, the way he runs the offense, the way he creates his own shot. It is a mirror image of Steph Curry's progress there. And it's to the point where him and Curry are having shooting contests together here.
Right.
And that's key for a player's development. One of the greats of the game is got someone under their wing here, and look at the progress that he's making, to say here.
Right.
So he's allowing the young guys to grow, and that is the big thing. And that's a sign when you don't go get anybody from the trade deadline, is that you're running with this team, and these guys could do it here.
Absolutely. And let me get to the chat. We got Black Vanguard in with Lakers problems equals Darvin Ham. Yeah, I agree. And it's wealth they need to show us. They want it. Talking about the Lakers, yeah. I think they are. Players just got to be able to do what they can do within a system that makes sense for them. And I think one of the problems was when you think you're good at what you do, but your coach has you doing something completely different, you kind of lose faith in them and you stop playing as well as you could. And I think we saw that from a lot of the Lakers players.
Yep.
All right.
Well, let's talk about some news that broke after the trade deadline that we all woke up to and were like, no way this is true. Your nice teams decided to have a conversation about LeBron James coming to join the
What was the conversation?
Okay, regardless.
There was a call. Hey, buddy. Yeah.
There was a phone call. So if
Okay.
there's a phone call, there's a conversation that's
All
being
right.
made here. Look, I wouldn't have been against it.
Oh,
that's
what?
How desperate. That's how desperate.
Man, here we go.
That's how desperate I am right now.
Do you hear this, Warrior Nation? LeBron will be welcomed with open arms into the Warrior.
Let me put it to you like family. This. We played against Chris Paul more than we did against LeBron, all right? And we couldn't stand Chris Paul. But guess what happened when he came to Golden State? We love this man, all right? We cannot wait for him to get back on the court because of what he does. Imagine LeBron James running down the floor with Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, two of the best shooters in the world.
I don't want to see it. No.
I'm just telling you. It can happen.
We're not gonna do this.
We're gonna talk about this.
We're not gonna do this. Kevin Durant to the Warriors or LeBron to. We're not doing that again. You guys shut the league down for a solid 3 to 5 years. It was not fun for anybody else except for you. And nobody is interested in going back to that time. I can tell you that right now. Now, I mean, the report is that Joe Lacob, the owner, contacted the Lakers brass to see if there was an opportunity for LeBron or if LeBron wanted to leave the Lakers. Now, this all stems from LeBron posting the hourglass tweet, which, came across as somebody's running out of time, whether it be him or the Lakers or whatever. And a lot of teams perceive that as him being disgruntled. So it wasn't just him. It was also Daryl Morey of the 76ers reached out to the to the Lakers.
The Niners.
I know where the heck did that come from? Reached out to the Lakers and asked about LeBron as well. Again, it wasn't going to go anywhere. The Lakers, of course, said no. LeBron's here to stay. LeBron's agent comes out, says, I'm here to stay. And that's the end of that. No, B. No.
Look. All I'm saying is the fact that a phone call was made and LeBron wants to play with Curry before he's come out and said it in public. If there was one current player that he would love to play with before this is all said and done, he came out and said Curry. All right. Every time Curry and LeBron are in the All-Star game before before they went to the old format, guess who was picking who? LeBron went and got himself Curry. We all know LeBron loves a shooter, right? Why not have the world's best shooter on your team?
Yep.
Who are you going to guard? You have to make a very bad choice. Going after LeBron or you go after Curry. You gotta make a choice.
I get it. It's just. Dude, first off, the Lakers, we're not trading LeBron. Now. We're not trading
You ain't got to trade him. But guess what? His contract's coming up.
His contract's coming. That is true. You're right.
That's what I'm saying.
But you can't afford him. You can't afford him. How are you going to get him? You're going to sign and trade? How are you going to get LeBron on your team? LeBron's not leaving LA. His son's at USC. Okay?
Yeah.
There's no reason for him to leave Los Angeles. All right?
He's going up the coast to the Northern California. He's going to be an hour jet plane ride. I'm sure a jet plane is not going to be a problem in his bankroll. You know what I'm saying? But all I'm saying is the conversation happened. There is a talk. All right? That's all that needs to spark a fire at the end of this year. He's getting to the tail end of his career. Look, if that report never comes out, we're not talking about it here. But the fact that it's out, it is something to talk about. Because the Warriors will do what they need to do. If that means we are selling Jonathan Kuminga, if we are selling our whole team and keeping what we have and going out and drafting a couple, here's what we'll do: we'll give you Jonathan Kuminga, we'll give you 2 first-round draft picks, and you can have Andrew Wiggins. We'll take
no. I don't
but if that would have been a hypothetical trade. But since that trade didn't go down, now all the Warriors got to do is just go out and sign him. You don't think Joe Lacob would give that man a 1-year deal and go absolutely bankrupt, knowing that he could recover that money in jersey sales, playoffs, and a potential finals trip?
I mean, I completely understand. I just say it's very unlikely. It's very unlikely. We will see what happens this offseason. I do not want to see that. Because I don't want to have to live in a league or watch a league where we already know that most of it is a far gone conclusion. But yeah, LeBron does have an option this offseason. So if he opts to go into free agency, there will be some talks. There will be teams.
You hear that?
There will be teams. But
opportunity knocking at the door, sir.
Okay, all right, that's all right. We'll do a 3-team. We'll do a 3-team trade, and we'll turn. Y'all can have LeBron, and we'll pick up a nice younger player like I don't know anybody. Any.
We don't have to. We're not gonna have to trade for him. This was the only opportunity. Now they could just sign him if they really wanted to.
If he opts out.
If he enters, yeah. All-Star Weekend. Obviously, we got the game going on right now, but All-Star Saturday obviously is a big event. But honestly, dude, this was garbage yesterday. I don't know if you got a chance to watch it. We'll go down the list here.
Most of it.
We talked about we had our picks, so we'll go over our picks as well. So we did the skills challenge, right? Now, I think you had the vets, right?
Yeah, I had Team All-Stars.
You had Team All-Stars.
And I lost. Team Pacers won. I think we both lost on that one.
Yeah, I had Team Top Picks, and Paulo, Ant, and Victor all look like a shell of themselves.
Yeah, they weren't even really. Nobody cared. Nobody cared. Just the Pacers because they were at home.
Yeah, and then Halliburton doing the choke signal in the skills competition.
Like, who you choking?
Yeah, relax, man. Relax. Latrell Sprewell.
I'm saying.
3-point contest. I had Jalen Brunson, who whoops, that was a bad pick. Who did you have?
Excuse me. I had Malik Beasley, which was another terrible one.
Yep, and Malik the winner Beasley. Was Damian Lillard.
Damian Lillard came out 2-time champion. It was actually fairly entertaining. I saw Big Cat got into things. I didn't like the fact that they had that in between runoff because they had four guys with 26 points, and then they had all 4 of them shoot for like 15 seconds. Just let all 4 of them shoot for the championship. Why waste the additional time? I thought that was dumb, and that's how Halliburton ended up getting kicked out of the tournament altogether. So like he had one of the better scores. Well, I guess they all did since they're all 26, but. I don't know, man. I didn't. It was interesting. I enjoyed it. I have to say the light up court was the star of the show, by far.
Yeah, I was about to say, what did you think of the LED court that they rolled out there?
I liked it, especially because it's not for the game itself; it was for the events. I thought it was a great idea, man. I thought it was cool to see the spots on the floor being lit up where the guys were shooting from for the skills competition. I like that the way they put the countdown in the middle of the court before the 3-point contest, the change of the colors during the dunk contest, which we'll talk about later. They had the little thing going on under their feet, whatever it was. So it was cool. I thought it was cool. It was a nice twist, and it was something that was really interactive. I thought that kind of caught your eye as you were watching. Everything seemed lively and lit up. So I thought that was pretty cool.
And they used a different. They didn't use their traditional game balls. They did use something different to that there. So I thought overall they did really good with that. Let's talk about the challenge. Sabrina versus Curry.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it.
I did
too. That was fun to watch. And look, we are very critical of the WNBA. I'm one to attest to that.
But the fact that I'm not critical of the WNBA. I just they're skilled. They know what they're doing. They're good at what they do. The only thing we disagreed with was the fact that they don't. The reasons that they don't get paid as much as NBA players is not because there's discrimination against women. It's just because the WNBA doesn't make as much money as the NBA does. I think that's our only little caveat there.
But Sabrina showed up and scored just as much as the guys did in the regular 3-point contest, and she probably could have competed in there. And I'm not gonna lie, Curry was probably a little nervous, in regards to that. There now he casually won the event, but for Sabrina to come out and do that, and the response that the NBA got from this crossover, what would you think? With Caitlin Clark entering the league next year, and she is a sharpshooter at Iowa. If you guys haven't heard about it, she's the NCAA women's all-time leading scorer in history here.
Yeah.
Can you imagine having an NBA WNBA crossover in the 3-point shootout?
I think it's an excellent idea. It's one of the few places where you can make it happen. and it's put on display for everybody to see. I think it'll bring more eyes to the WNBA players and their talent.
Yes.
And it's a great marketing scheme to get folks in the building. So, yeah, man, absolutely. They should do that all day. They should have the best 3-point shooters from the WNBA have their compete against the guys. And rather they do it
or just teams.
Or teams or maybe they have the women compete against each other and then the winner places the winner from the men. However they want to do it. Make it happen, because at the end of the day, it's more exposure for their league, and it's entertaining because it makes it fun. It's like, oh, okay, all right, wow, dang, man, she got game. Like, it opens up your eyes to what they can do.
And she came out firing.
Oh, she was.
I think she made her first like 6 shots.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, that was crazy. And mind you, they didn't have anything else to do that night. They literally just showed up, shot threes, and left the court.
Right.
I thought it was great.
Yeah, a little light warm up and it was over. Yeah, so I think that's a great idea. I think they should. They used to include the WNBA players in the skill competition too, or at least they've done it before. So I think it's a good blend that they can get going to help pump some life into the WNBA. Not saying that the WNBA doesn't have viewers, but it can always use more. So I think that's a good idea.
I could tell you this: it may even draw a few NBA fans to watch Sabrina shoot, because if she shoots like that on a daily basis, who doesn't love somebody who could light it up from the 3-point land nowadays? Exactly, Exactly. So that's I think that's a big win for both sides here. But let's talk about a not big win, and that was the dunk contest. And this had to been one of the sorriest dunk contests out there. Your guy won. Oh God, dude. Jaylen Brown should never even be asked again to be in the dunk contest. The fact that he tried to close his eyes after he dunked the ball, when he went like this.
Yeah, like what was that? What was he doing? No, nobody's dabbed in 15 years. I hope that's not what you're doing there.
Jacob Toppin was terrible. The dude from the Heat. I don't even want to pronounce his name because he doesn't even deserve it during that dunk contest.
He was not. He was also not very entertaining. It was, at least Matt McClung can jump, and I think that's what's most spectacular about it is he's short. Well, for an NBA player, he's short and he's white, and I think that's all you need. And so he had some good dunks. The one over Shaq, that was impressive. I enjoyed that.
That was impressive. And whatever you got to say about it, he still had to get up above Shaquille O'Neal.
Oh yeah.
So the fact that this man's got hops around 7-foot leap status, it's impressive. Holy cow, that was an impressive dunk.
Yep, absolutely, man. I thought, but everybody else kick rocks. We don't need to watch that anymore. It's like I had my son come downstairs to watch it, and the first question he has is, "Who are these people?" Because it literally is. The dunk contest consists of guys that none of us really know or are concerned about. You know what I mean? I think that's where it's starting to lose a lot of its gravitas. And you talked about in our Friday, was it our Friday show? I think about the fact that they should move the 3-point contest to being the last event or the premier event at the end.
It has to be. Because you have your top 3-point shooters and big name 3-point shooters competing in this. It's very rare you get guys to say no. Like Damian Lillard doesn't have to do this.
Right.
Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, KD, Jalen Brunson, guys who are big name stars are competing in that 3-point contest here.
Right.
So can you imagine that being the limelight and that selling point? And then after that, you have you can have the NBA WNBA crossover here. I think that the dunk contest needs to go second now. Like even just get rid of the skills challenge. Like that's just a waste of. Scotty Barnes threw a shot backwards. Okay? Like,
he sure did. He just grabbed it.
He just turned around and said,
I don't care
about it at all, man.
Somebody get me out of here. But yeah, I completely agree. The 3-point contest should be the highlight of the evening. The dunk contest has lost its spark. We don't have enough all-star future Hall of Famers or even athletic up and coming players competing in it anymore. There has to be more athletic guys in the league than what we saw there. And I just feel like what we put on the table, it wasn't it. The leagues, they got to sit down and take a look and say, they need to add some money to it, a little extra cash incentive. I think there is already some money behind it, but they need to put a little bit more so that they could get some of these higher profile players to play.
I say you offer the same amount you did for that in-season tournament. I mean,
you got
grand. The guys that you guys got guys to try hard in the in-season tournament. Imagine what you could do for $500,000 for a dunk contest and see who's participating in that. Holy cow!
McClung will be there every year. Right? 500, half a mil. Shoot.
Well, dude, the money he won from the dunk contest is almost his G League contract in general.
I'm sure it is. Actually, you know what? I should look that up. See if I can look that up. Dunk contest earnings. I'm really curious.
While you look it up, Black Vanguard, Bron has way too much invested in LA. It's bigger than just a trade. Bron was close to Kobe, and his heart is in LA. I don't see it. Look, his heart is in LA, but it's only an hour flight from Northern California to Southern California. And that's just on a regular charter plane. If he's taking his jet plane, he'll be there in a half hour. So he's not leaving the entire West Coast. He is just a shot away from, going back down to LA. And then he comes back with saying Sabrina versus Curry was fire.
Yeah.
It was. Yeah. And when you have a WNBA player oohing and on a football stadium for a 3-point shootout, you did something good there. So kudos to them.
Absolutely. So to answer the question, first place in the dunk contest wins $105,000. Second place, $55,000. Third place, $20,000. So Matt McClung came away with a nice little chunk of change. Now, if I look up McClung's, how much is McClung's his earnings?
His G League earnings.
His G League contract. Yeah, he's this season he made $106,000. So yeah, he just doubled up his yearly salary by winning the dunk contest. So kudos to Matt McClung for understanding the mission. Oh no, I'm wrong. That's right. I'm forgetting that he signed a contract with Orlando before they sent him back down to the G League. So actually, I take that back. He was on a minimum contract. Minimum contract is $2 million. So he made $2 million this year. So never mind.
Oh, okay.
Never
mind. Scratch that. Well, before we do have one final bit of NFL news because a certain player and a certain team decided that we needed to continue to talk about it here. Before we go to those two people, we talked about the numbers coming out for viewership for the NFL.
Yeah.
An average of 123.7 million people tune in to watch the NFL, the highest rating Super Bowl in NFL history.
Wow.
Part of that has to do with the Taylor Swift fans. But look, the NFL got what they wanted from this year, and that was viewership here, and they delivered on it big time. That was crazy to say the least.
I mean, yeah, man, absolutely. I mean, this is the Taylor Swift effect. Brought all the little Swifties to watch the Super Bowl and other playoff games they probably would have never watched before. So, yeah, man, I think it was a win-win for the NFL. Not that they needed another win. I mean, they were raking the money in overall already. But yeah, man, it's they just keep going. They just keep doing the NFL just keeps on rolling.
As long as those two are still dating, the Chiefs are going to be one of the richest teams in NFL history when this is all said and done.
Yep.
But someone lost their job over the week here because they felt it was necessary. Steve Wilkes fired 2 days after the Super Bowl here. I was kind of taken to the side about that there because I honestly don't think it was the defense that was the problem.
Well, I mean, the defense they couldn't get the stop, and down the stretch they played pretty weak. I gotta be honest with you. When I saw this, I was like, "Hey, have my Raiders already picked up a defensive coordinator?" Because
go get him.
I would be giving him a call right away and say, "Hey, man," because that defense has been stout for a few years now, and I think he took over this year, correct?
Yes. It was the first year.
This was his first year. Before that, it was the coach of the Texans.
Yes, DeMarco. I'm blanking on his name.
Yeah, I forgot his last name, but I know exactly who you're talking about. But yeah, man, I don't know if I was the Raiders, I might look into it, pick his brain and see where he's at. The 49ers had to make a move. I mean, they had to find somebody to blame for this loss. It was one of those losses that hurt. So you got to find somebody to place the blame on. They're not going to fire Shanahan. You're not going to get rid of Brock Purdy. You're not going to trade Deebo Samuel or these guys, so you got to find somebody to pin it on, and I think he was just the guy that happened to catch the bullet. So he's gone.
But we won't talk about the fact that they didn't score a touchdown in their final 2 possessions when they were in the red zone. Let's not talk about that here. Let's just fire the defensive coordinator.
Yeah.
With that, there are some coaches available for a spot. One being a Bill Belichick. Do you see him going to the Niners to be their defensive coordinator? Now, mind you, he did break into the league as a defensive coordinator.
I don't think so. And the reason is I think Bill's just outdated. I think he's just old.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of the ways he does things aren't going to work. I think having to look over your shoulder if you're Shanahan, because you got this guy in the room with all this, who's won all these Super Bowls and all that. I don't know if that's necessarily where you want to be. And everybody knows the Patriots' way is you got to find quote unquote Patriot players. And I just don't see Belichick signing up to do something that somebody else wants to do. I don't see that.
I think the Niners really should take a look at Mike Vrabel, who was fired from Tennessee.
Yeah.
That might be your best option there. Also, the coach from the Chargers is not a bad option as well here.
Yeah.
So there are some names here. It's just kind of funny that this all took place 2 days after the Super Bowl here.
There's no time.
Well, let's end the conversation on your team, which is the Raiders here, who no one thought we'd be talking about at this point in the season.
Gotta stay in the news, baby. Gotta stay relevant.
Your boy Jimmy G is going to be suspended for the first 2 games with PEDs. Subscribe to PEDs here.
I think the question.
Give me your thoughts, man.
The question everybody wants to know is, why is Jimmy G on PEDs?
To throw the ball down the field.
He's not even playing, man. The guy is not even in the game. What is he using the PEDs for, man? Like, I saw some comments and jokes about it saying that the PED he was taking was Viagra because it's obviously not something he was using on the field. And it doesn't make any sense because I don't know how it would have helped him. Maybe it was more for injury recovery. He did have some injuries this season.
Yes.
So maybe that's what he was using it for. That would make a lot of sense. But at the same time, I feel like the Raiders kind of gave him a quick boot. Like they didn't.
They could have easily just said you're gone.
They could have waited around. They could have found out more information. They could have said, "Oh, okay, well, the NFL's not that big of a crackdown on PEDs. Like you get suspended for maybe you get suspended for a little while, but
he's got to miss the first 2 games.
Yeah, it's not that big of a deal. And I thought the Raiders could have kept him as a quality backup quarterback, but maybe now they're looking for another quarterback, and Aiden O'Connell will be that backup. But I felt like they just kind of got rid of Jimmy G because it was kind of like, all right, well, we didn't really want this guy anyway, so we'll just use this for a reason, and we're just going to cut him. So that's
they talk about the Raider way. What better Raider way than getting caught with PEDs? For God's sakes, you had Bill Romanowski running around.
Oh my God! What?
So what difference does it make? And he's a quarterback.
Exactly. Yeah, Bill Romanowski with his famous smoothies and all this other stuff he supposedly was doing to keep himself healthy, even though he's playing on like his seemed like 20,000th season in the league with the Raiders at the end of his career. Yeah, he for sure was a guy who was on something. You know, what was the other one?
Yeah.
The guy for the Patriots, was he on him too? Teddy, was it Bruschi?
Oh, Teddy Bruschi?
Yeah. I'll go.
I don't know if he was.
Let me not put dirt on his name.
Yeah, Brian Cushings was another one who was just a roid monster, whether he wanted to admit it or not. Brian Bosworth was a roid monster.
I always thought Armstrong was on those things. Remember Lance Armstrong?
He was. He got busted for it.
Yeah.
A cyclist got busted for steroids. Here. All I'm saying is Jimmy G was just doing the Raider thing, and the Raiders said, "Nah, you can't be doing that," and cut him. I was like, "Damn, like, the man can't take a prescribed medication." That's the worst part. Is it was prescribed to him, like it wasn't something.
How does your doctor not know? You know,
the doctor's got to know the rules because they got to have a list of what players should be taking, what they shouldn't be taking.
Yeah. Don't they have team doctors? Usually have doctors on staff.
They were trying to get rid of him that quickly.
Yeah, exactly. they were like, how do we get rid of this guy? Who's got dirt on him? Tell him to take this.
His doctor will pay his doctor the rest of his salary if he just comes out and says it's a PED.
Exactly. Well, on our before we head out, let's get to the comments. So, Black Vanguard, thanks for joining us again, brother. I don't see why they got rid of him. The Niners gave Mahomes problems all day. They just blame the D coordinator to catch the bullet, and they're talking about the 100%. I agree. Yeah, I don't. You know, we were just having a conversation. I was just having a conversation with your sister, Brian, earlier, and you know, it was just a really, really close game with two really good teams, man. That's all I saw there. It wasn't like one team got the brakes beat off of them, or it was defined by one player or another. It was just a really good game between two really good teams. So,
agreed.
Unfortunate for the Niner fans, but the truth.
Holy shnikes. Before we get off the air, the All-Star game, dude, the score is 192 to 168.
Oh, well, there's only 3 minutes left, so you think they'll get to 200? Yeah, they'll get to 200.
From the way they've been shooting the ball, oh my God. The NBA's got to do something a little better to get this game a little more competitive. 192 to 170 now. Oh my God. I would have taken the over.
Me too. Because there's no defense happening. It's just folks chucking up threes. Well, open threes, by the way, not contested threes.
Exactly.
But yeah, man, it's just things. I'll watch him break the 200 mark. I think that'll be cool. But other than that, this game is like a pickup. It's like a very casual pickup game in the NBA.
Always.
All right, folks. Well, I think that's all we got for this evening. Thanks, Black Vanguard, for joining us, keeping us active. Good show. We appreciate it. See you, and we will see you next time too. We'll be back with more talks about the NBA. We're gonna get our picks on Friday. Get our picks in Friday. We're going down the home stretch, baby. We're gonna see if these teams are gonna make the playoffs or not. One of us is gonna be very sad. I can promise you. Or maybe both of us. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, imagine having to talk about the playoffs with none of our teams in it.
I'm not going to talk about it. Yeah, it's going to be fun. Not at all. But in any case, y'all, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the notification button. We appreciate it. And y'all have a wonderful Sunday evening. I'm going to go get some cookies. Y'all have a great night.
Have a good night, everyone.
All right.
Later.
Late.